Okay guys, here's Nanny Di. We haven't done this. Let's start with a great big swinging shot. It's green fingered hell. And that shot's for all the people that can't stand the wobbly camera work. Neither can I.
Okay.
Oh God.
This is more a philosophical
This is a green fingered hell.
construct.
What is?
Because this is green fingered hell.
Oh, is it?
Because really, yes, we're really just going through what could be, what might be, and what will be possibly.
Now,
if we're lucky.
Very true.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. It's more of a sort of
Existentialist.
Existential green fingers hell.
Heading out towards Neptune probably,
Neptune.
being as everybody seems to be heading
Everyone's
out
going
towards
out to
it.
Neptune these days. It's all the rage. I was out in the shower and I was just thinking to myself about what we were going to talk about in the garden.
Yes.
I've just had a shower. That's why I look absolutely diabolical.
Oh, that's my boy.
That's
my
my mum.
boy.
That's my mum. And I was imagining that when you've had your knee operation, the
I'll
only
be
way
kneeless.
you'll be kneeless, but the only thing the only image I could conjure of you in the garden was that of Matisse telling people to do things for the snail
Very
with a
good.
stick
Yes.
from a wheelchair.
Yes.
Is that going to be you?
I hope so.
Put the begonia over there.
Put that there. But my mum was a bit
Push
like
the
that.
ace-
in
I
the
know.
end. She'd go, put that there, put that there.
Yeah, do you think you might be like that?
No. I'm
What
a
if they
hands-on
put your
person.
What if they put your knee on backwards?
No, they don't do that.
You could do the moonwalk, couldn't you? That'd be strange.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a little wander around because essentially the garden was left in the capable hands of our nephew Finley, and you know what teenage boy is seriously going to be thinking about the needs and desires of plants on a daily basis. He thought of them on a weekly basis once.
Well, we have enough difficulty. Blowing hell.
Damn right. So he, you know, bless him, he had a crack at, and it was a very dry week whilst we were away. So we're going to interrogate the garden and depress ourselves, aren't we?
We're also moving into, which I'm sure you all know, of course you all know this, but we're moving into autumn in this very, very strange year.
It's so humid that even holding the camera up like this is making my right armpit copiously sweat.
But the reason I'm saying the autumn thing is that an awful lot of the stuff that you'll be seeing now, as we're discovering, is leaves are falling off and it's starting to look very autumnal.
Are you sort of helping people know what autumn is?
I'm helping myself to know.
Yeah,
yes.
autumn is the season.
And as you
when...
say, I love autumn.
So what is the deal in the garden in autumn, Mum?
Everything, all the leaves fall off. Everything falls down, and we have to start again next year. Actually, that is pretty much.
So it's your favourite time of the year because everything dies.
I know you love to say that.
I mean,
but
you
that
are
is
not-
true. You are left. What you are left with at the end of the year, when things have died, is the true grit.
Oh right, is the
It's
essence
the true stuff, the essence of what can survive
Like-
in the Arctic.
like Tommy Lee Jones on the outer rings of Neptune?
Exactly.
That's what we're going to see today, is it?
Yes.
Bits of him.
Bits of him floating about with a craggy face.
Okay, well, without further ado, we're going to have a little wander around and, as I say, depress ourselves. So can we do anything active? When's the right time to sort of chop things down and pull things out like we've been doing it all year?
I mean, we've been very busy as a family. We seem to have been, and have been having our own disasters and non-disasters. And I've missed Monty Don for about 6 weeks, and now is the time you need Monty Don. He says to people, this is what you should be doing now. And I
Right.
haven't heard that.
You should be watching those gardening programs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Nadia's right.
In fact, guys, turn this off and
No.
just go to BBC
No.
iPlayer
One of
and
the
watch
things
Monty
that-
Don.
One of the things that I thought we should do is but people need to see us observing Monty Don. It's
People need to see us not doing very much. What are people actually tuning in to watch today, Mum?
our wonderful
Rapport,
rapport,
as we look at dead things.
and the fact that occasionally we know what a plant is. But very occasionally.
So nothing going on over there.
No.
Acer Corner. So Acer Corner. Let's have a look at Acer Corner.
Acer Corner is very worrying.
Well,
What?
Acer Corner's looking all right.
It does.
They're all sort of
Being very
frondy.
Acer-ish.
Yeah, that's not too dead. Everything. I mean, the strawberries didn't yield a single thing this year.
But didn't you say they took bi-yearly or something?
Well, no, these aren't. These gave strawberries last year, and they gave nothing. Now, I'll tell you what has become quite strong and
Yeah.
verdant looking is what the hell's going on with that? It's become
That will,
very thick, fibrous stalks.
look at that. I didn't know honeysuckle produced berries, but obviously it does.
Hasn't it got fibrous, Mum?
Very fibrous. Good word. Fibrous.
Yeah. And over here,
That
look,
will go mad. Nothing will put that off.
well, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to fill this with soil, and I'm going to decant that into here.
When?
And I'm going to decant that into here, possibly today.
Good God.
Yeah.
So that's the clematis, I presume.
Yeah, that is a
Carrying
clematis,
on,
yeah,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah,
looking
yeah.
quite
No,
something.
good. It's looking good.
Yeah.
That is the bloody, passion flower, which has done nothing all year and is still doing nothing. And I can only recognise it's the passion flower by
I
its
think
leaves.
it's storing itself up for next year, Mum. Because it did something. It didn't do nothing.
Really, do
No.
you think?
This is now.
They're usually bomb-proof passion fruit, and that wasn't, so I don't
Now,
understand.
the last time I saw Clematis go like this, I thought it was dead, but it wasn't.
Yeah, we've got to be careful with that at the bottom. It'll come back from the bottom.
It will, won't it?
Yeah. The thing that we don't know, people, and you know there's so much we don't know, but over the clematises, you know there's the two different types. The ones that come up, that are probably this one, which will flower early with masses of blooms, and then there's the ones that flower with single blooms later on. Now, I suspect that these are the ones that die right back and then come up
every year, do they?
Yeah.
So they don't build upon themselves each year.
No, they come from the bottom. But interestingly, and this is the stuff that you have to be aware of, you can't just sort of think, oh well, that's it, and cut them off here, because they do come back.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
well, that's
difficult.
like this little one over here that can look. I mean, this one's flowering. Look. This one we thought was dead. This was a classic case in point. This went all the way back down to nothing, and this has been sort of very green, and I think we have to kiss goodbye to this lavender. This is hideously ugly.
You cut that.
That's just ugly. I mean, but it's stalky and disgusting. So
I like
anyway,
it.
without going into the specifics.
I've had a proper disaster with my cake.
So do we have to go back over to the vlog?
Yeah. This is
She's
important stuff.
interrupted.
Emergency.
Newsflash, going into Greenfinger Mum, you're going to have to do an emergency one of them. I mean, really emergency. I think we're there. Hang on, so you've got to do a really energetic, do a really calm return.
Or a calm energetic.
A calm energetic. She's good at these, isn't she? We should put a little oh, blimey. Okay, almost turned it into a martial art. This is quite amusing. Now, do you remember our Acer that had fungal spot, or whatever it's called? What was it called? Fungal spot?
We did look it up, didn't
Fungal
we? Black spot or something. Yeah, something.
Tar spot.
Tar spot.
All its leaves fell off. Look, it looks naked. It literally looks like it's been caught in the buff. But actually, look at it. It's incredibly vibrant and alive. This is how that little red one over there got. All the leaves suddenly fell off one day. But look, beautiful buds there.
No, yeah, I saw that yesterday.
So what I'm thinking of doing is, I'm thinking of planting it in the bed, Mum.
On its own?
With all the other Acers. I'm thinking of planting all the Acers.
Today?
Yes.
Oh no.
Oh, is that too much?
Too much for me.
Okay, well, it will be in this Green-fingered Hell, but it might not be today, because Nanny Di is having an operation next week, so she's feeling a bit worse for wear. So look, all of these things, like Clematis. So, I mean, look at this beautiful russet red. What's this one here? What is it?
It could be jasmine.
Oh, this is the jasmine. That's beautiful colour, isn't it? It's almost Virginia creepery.
It is. How do you know about Virginia creepers?
I know everything about Virginia creepers.
Oh, okay. Well, it is almost Virginia creepers.
It is. Can I
this
also?
Rose, I really don't know about this.
That rose, thou aren't sick.
Thou aren't sick.
It's incredibly healthy looking, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
This wisteria looks diabolically threadbare.
Yeah, it does.
What's going on with that?
No sympathy for the wisteria.
I know you don't like.
It's not that. It will come back.
But look at its root ball is really sticking out now, isn't it?
Impossible to kill wisteria.
Oh, well, that's good. So we can just leave it doing that. Now, how are we doing on our philosophical tour of the garden?
Well, I think at some point, and there will be plenty of time for me to do this at least, because I'm going to be convalescing very soon. And I thought that I would make a list of things that I know that we need for next
summer.
Yeah. And they're things that aren't very exciting, but they're things that we need. And let me just give you an example of one of them. Do you remember we got, these big things that I can't move around, and I was trying yesterday. You remember we got one that looks as if it's something, but it's actually very light.
Yes.
One of these is
this blue one here. Yeah.
For a start, I want to get a lot more of those.
Yes.
They look the part, but I can move them, and that's quite important.
Yeah.
So silly things like that, sticks that are heavy duty that we can put the stuff to climb up, because we've got none.
So will we be planting stuff in autumn? Do you plant stuff in autumn? I mean, can we still be clearing that bed and planting stuff?
Yeah, well, yes.
Let's go down to the corner and have a look. So, to be honest with you, I think me and Nanny Di are slightly surprised by how the weeds have, I suppose, because it's the end of the season for plants, but it's also, I guess, the end of the season for weeds. So I suppose the joy of it, the joy of autumn is that weeds die too, do they?
Up to a point.
I
mean, I think, oh Mark, look at that's the poppy.
So this still doesn't even feel like it's got buds. This is something that came.
It really doesn't
look alive. So I mean, it's done nothing.
It has, but I think we've invested enough time in it now to let it carry on.
Oh, we've got to let it.
But
this is the poppy that we thought had to reseed. That's
Well,
quite
it probably
something.
is a reseeding.
But yeah, but why is it growing back? Maybe there's going to
I
be
don't
two
know, but I'm
poppies
really
in it. And
it might be 2 poppies. I think it might.
But can I just show you subs? Look at this. Look at that. That's one of the most exquisite roses I think I've ever seen.
See, this has got black spot. I wonder
But it's
why.
beautiful. That's the
It is
second.
gorgeous.
It's a baby. This is the one that came in the pot that was a bit albino. I wonder if that was traumatised into that colour.
No, but it's very pretty. But as is that rose there.
Oh, I know. You guys might remember the great lengths I went to in trying to ensure that this stump died. I think you can probably say it was a total fail. I have never seen a stump look more alive. Have you, Mum?
No.
I mean, it's like the Epsom salts have spurred it on.
Yeah, it's like it's been its vitamin pill.
But I tell you what I have noticed is, have you noticed how none of them have come up
Oh,
on the
yeah,
lawn?
Yeah. That's true, Mark. That's a good.
So
good
this
thing.
tree stump's more alive than it was before I poured Epsom salts in it. So that was a fail.
We don't know that because what I was going to do yesterday when I looked at it was cut all these off, and who knows, when we cut all these off, maybe that will just be it.
It may be.
This is his last ditch attempt.
I have heard that you have to keep repeatedly killing the growths
Yeah,
on things.
yeah.
Now, you were saying that this really pretty grey frondy bush was going to
Outgrow itself,
and it already has.
Yeah.
So I can't even work out where the edges of it are. Can you bunch it up? So we just see what...
Well, what my suggestion would be is to divide it into 2.
So has it spread? Oh no, so it's literally spreading out like that.
Yeah.
Look at that, guys. See? So that's quite a big bushy thing, isn't it? And the other thing I've noticed, Mum, didn't realise geraniums had creepers. Like, look here.
Yeah.
We could, like strawberry plants,
Yeah.
you could cut that off
Yeah.
and plant that somewhere else.
You could. I'm not convinced still that that's a good place for those.
No.
But
But I've noticed also, look, this one's died off.
yeah, no, it will do.
Will
die
it?
off. Yes.
But these ones haven't. What's these?
No, but it will
These are
eventually.
coming through. What are these?
No, I don't know. Be careful.
They're a bit worrying, aren't they?
They are. And then just bring the camera along and look at these weird things that we have no idea what they are. I mean, that there, for example.
These are the ones that you cut off. These are the verbena things.
Oh, and they're doing fine.
They're doing
aren't
all
they?
right, yeah. This is all more geranium stuff. This is something that we planted. We've just forgotten. Why have we forgotten? Where's that list gone, Mum, that you wrote?
I don't know. This is the
This is pretty. We
Yay!
planted that.
This is a foxglove.
It's
Digitalis.
not-
It is.
Is it?
Isn't it?
No.
I thought there were 2 digitalises. No?
No. That's pretty.
That's pretty.
And that's something there.
Those 2 there. Where are the little things that were so little that you
Where-
said they're
can
not
I
going to
also
grow?
ask you, where is the other agapanthus that you
Yes.
cut off and pulled down?
Oh, that was over here.
No. You
Oh, no.
pulled a bit off of it, and it seems to have disappeared.
It might have disappeared into the haze of
Did
weeds.
you pull it up?
No, I didn't.
So the thing is, guys, we're in the same state that we were in last time.
A
But
bit.
this, I tell you what, I'm a little bit alarmed by over here is the geraniums have run riot.
That's okay. That's what they're supposed to
I know,
do.
but it's
look.
ugly.
No, you can't say it's ugly. It's just that it's not doing them full justice because part of their look is that they're falling like along the edge of that,
Yeah.
for example.
So maybe
that would
we-
look pretty.
So maybe, along the edge of the top.
Top one.
Well, maybe we
That's
should take
perfect.
sub clippings of them.
And actually, they'll try to go down and seed in the bottom
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it might be a feast of geraniums.
So what we should do is, if you wanted to make these grow, I presume you could cut them off.
Yeah.
Grow them in a pot.
Yeah.
And then supplant them
That's
over
exactly
there.
what you could
Oh, I
do.
might-
You could replant the whole plant
Yeah.
and leave it to find its own way, which it would.
Is that hole under the brick? There's a hole there. So yeah, we're thinking of putting the geraniums along the top here. Would that look a bit odd with aces?
No, it would look. No, I don't think it would. I think when they. Should we put a brick there rather than just a bit of
Rest of the garden. I mean, I think this year on Green Fingered Hell has been very much a case of,
us finding
well,
things?
no, I mean, if you compare it to last year, we've completely restructured the garden.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
to
it's
be honest, I mean, it's
fantastic for that.
incomparable to what we did last year.
Fantastic.
We have great big brooding presences like this bed over here.
Yeah.
The front garden is still full of all the waste.
Yeah,
God
yeah.
only knows. I mean, can you get skips just for garden waste?
I'm sure you can.
You know, I've got my ambitions for the bed over there. So we've got a lot of things to think about, and we've still got this to clear. But I think we've done a lot. We've got new plants in. We can see how they grow. What's going to happen with all of the pot plants over there, Mum? All of the...
Well, all the bedding
presumably they're going
stuff
to die
will
off,
die
aren't they?
back. Well, I was almost going to do it yesterday.
Right.
And
what should we do with the empty pots?
I don't know. All the bedding plants.
How much of the things up there that aren't annuals that are going to die away could all be supplanted into beds? I mean, could our little Acer could go with all the other Acers?
It could.
Could
but
the hibiscus take a position? I don't know, at the entryway to a.
It could, but my thought would be, when you've got so much stuff that is going into the beds, why not try and keep some stuff that's.
Because we can get new stuff for up there. I'll tell you what I'm thinking. What's working really nicely on the stairs is the palm trees and that sort of, whether we make it a bit more palmy up there and a bit more bamboo-y and a bit more tropically.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then all of the other sort of, and then you've got Acer-y stuff here. Just a thought.
No. Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to do, but at the same time, it's not working as well as I wanted because, again, you've got to do it by size.
Yeah.
And some of the downward dog ones are being more
Yeah. I mean, here's my thing about this area here. I mean, this has looked absolutely beautiful for the year, and Nadia's loved it. Come up here, Mum.
Yep.
Do you need a hand?
Yep.
I mean, something keeps digging these up. I don't know if they're...
Toffee.
Oh, right. So this has been lovely throughout the summer, but it's
all
now...
finished now.
Well, I was going to say, and it's that faded... There's a faded
glory.
charm, isn't there,
Yeah,
to everything?
yeah.
So what does one do in this instance? I need real clarity here. I don't want us to leave them all just becoming green and going over there to see if they come back next year.
No.
What does one do with annuals that have come to the end of the season? Do you know subs?
I know.
What?
You cut them off. I was going to do it yesterday, but I didn't go over there.
Yeah.
What do you call those things that go like
Yeah,
that?
and then do what with them?
Cut all the top off.
Yeah.
Wait until the next time I come, and then shake out the roots, and then use that compost for new compost.
And what do you do with the dead plant?
The dead plant is dead. It's
You
had
just chuck it?
It's finished.
It's not...
Yeah,
okay.
It becomes compost.
Because what happened over there was we left them from last year in the vein
Oh,
and
no, but
they
that-
grew back.
Yeah, but that was only because we really didn't know what we were doing
Oh,
last
okay.
year. So it was just to see what would grow.
So we
really.
will end up with empty pots here.
Yeah, we know all of these are bedding
So what can we
plants.
put in empty pots for the autumn and winter?
Well, this is the thing.
What do you put in? Here's a good
Yeah,
question.
that's the-
What would you put in patio pots for the autumn and winter months?
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to know. Because
Please.
obviously all of the trees, the acers, the olive tree, the pomegranate, the gooseberry, the blueberries, the bougainvilleas, they'll just carry on.
Yeah.
But what do you do with all these ones that were sort of just pretty? What should we do with those pots? Give us your answers, please.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. This, in my which I'm going to start when
Yeah,
I'm
well, this-
convalescing.
I think the important thing to say to the subs is that next year, because we've done so much sort of structural clearing on those two beds, obviously I anticipate that things like that bed will be cleared more convincingly next year, and that bed, perhaps during the winter too. I'm going to try and get out here and do some green-fingered hells in the winter because we didn't do any. We want this to keep going all year round, guys. We're not just doing this for the summer. But this bed, even though it looks diabolical, and it is, it's cleared back because we've removed that huge pot that was here.
Yeah, and we're starting to see what was
there.
there. For example, this rose, which
Yes.
isn't just any old rose, it's a good one. It's
Yes.
a good old, what they call an old rose.
Yeah.
Look what I found this morning. Now, Mark,
Oh.
that's a fuchsia.
Oh, there's a fuchsia in there.
And what's more, that is an unusual
look at
colour,
that.
and that's my favourite colour, so I must have bought that, I think,
Oh
at
my
some
God,
point.
Mum, that's so
And
sweet. Is it like finding little old things? It's a bit archaeological, isn't it? It's a bit like, who
great.
do you
So
think you are?
At one point, I think I must have wanted that there, and it's managed to get it showing because, I mean, there's been so much stuff there. We haven't known what's there, have we?
And because this is what we've discovered with things over here as well in these beds, is that because there's light now, things are being able. It's almost like things are pushing through with a renewed vigour and colour, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Quite beautiful. I'm just going to show you a close up of this fuchsia.
These are my mom, Mark's nan, Thelma, always used. She loved the fuchsias, and she used to say that they were like little ballerinas, which in a way they are.
That makes me like them more.
Very, very cute.
I have to say, of all the fuchsias I've seen, I think they're the prettiest.
I like that colour the
Yeah,
best.
yeah.
Usually they're magenta and
Yeah.
purple, but yeah.
I'm never usually a fan.
No.
So here's the thing. So with that bed, even with that bed, although it's diabolical, look at it. It's our accessibility, and I presume in the winter this will die off.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to just cut that back.
Yeah,
half.
it's mainly bramble now.
It
That's
is.
the thing that's stopping us from getting
Yeah,
into
yeah.
it.
Although it's got one of those. See the red leafed thing there? That's a little bit like the one in the bed down the bottom, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got to watch that because
Yeah.
although
I'm wondering, although it's nice, maybe it's not particularly.
it might,
Yeah.
it might qualify as a weed type now.
There's the hideous sort of secret garden that I literally don't even know what to do. I mean,
Who knows? There might
subs. What do we do with that? tell me, we're going to shred some of it, but unless I want to stand in the garden for 3 weeks shredding, this is what I call Jurassic Park corner. This is guinea pig Jurassic Park. Do you feel, is there anything we could use that great big pot for? Oh, and mind you, I think it might be broken. So in this area here, I'll tell you what I have noticed. Look, there's a beautiful looking... Oh, it's from the other side. See that? That's a wisteria coming up from Betty and Teddy's side.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
That's actually quite pretty. That
Yeah.
could be quite pretty. I'm anticipating and hoping, Mum, that eventually we'll be able to consider things to put along here, like clematis.
Yeah.
I mean, like that pocket of light there.
Yeah.
You could put a wisteria or
Yeah.
something there, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
Passion
Absolutely.
flower. Because there's a clematis that's gone absolutely bonkers here and become
Yeah.
a tree. Look.
Yeah.
Was that a passion flower?
Passion flower. Oh, yeah,
it is passion flower.
Yeah.
Huge. So the fig tree is already growing. Look, new. See the new shoots from where I cut off the low branches.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be cutting that fig tree off from about there.
That actually needs to be done as soon as possible.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do that.
Because everything from now that it puts onto its trunk will be for next year.
Yeah.
You'll get fruit then.
Yeah.
Or maybe not next year fruit. What the hell are these? I mean, I know they're only weeds, but look at the size of them.
They're like something out of, I
Like
don't know, the
Jurassic
Jurassic
Park.
period. What are those guys? Now, and this ivy has all grown from a decorative barrel.
Ivy's a pain in the neck. And wherever there's ivy, there's holly. Holly,
I know.
yeah, ivy, get it.
What are your reflections on where we've got to and what sort of a year we've had so far? Bearing in mind we are continuing green-fingered hell beyond the summer.
Yeah. Well, I think that we carry on doing what we were doing before. Yesterday when I looked at subs, which is the first time for a long time, lots been going on, I thought, oh my God, I don't know where to start. But if you go back to the thing of thinking bed by bed by bed, it's a bit like day by day by day, isn't it? Then it seems not so bad. That bed there, the one that we started on, is already sort of starting to get its own shape.
It is, isn't
we
it?
finish the weeds, we'd say split that grey one because it can take it, and then see what it looks like. And then as far as,
The rest of the garden, well, it's like it is
You'd have to do the big,
it is an
heavy
annual
lifting, that's
thing,
the
isn't it?
trouble.
So I imagine
Yeah.
if you imagine in another year we got 2 more of the beds done, then you're looking
Yeah.
at a 2-year period. Most of the garden
Yeah.
would be under control.
Yeah,
Under
and
control.
don't ever be sort of downhearted about that. As the subs will all know, even with the bits that you've seen, and obviously you haven't seen every bit of this corner because neither have we. It's a huge task, wasn't it, this garden? It's not just an ordinary garden, it is enormous. And it's ancient, so all the time we're cutting, really into old trees.
And the point of us not getting people in to do it is so that there's a bloody film to put on YouTube.
Yes.
Otherwise there'd be nothing to film.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Obviously there is some structural stuff like Stephen where he helped has been critical, and there'll be other moments where we probably get people in to cut trees down and what have you. But the nuts and bolts of it is about how do we fit this into our daily lives and how do we fit it into our weekly, and the journey. It's the journey.
Yeah.
It's not the destination.
No,
so
exactly.
Exactly.
Hi.
So subs, just before the rain comes in, we're just going to quickly, I'm going to fill that with soil.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to pop the bottom of the passion flower, is it? No.
Honeysuckle.
Honeysuckle and the bottom of this clematis in there,
Yeah.
so that they can really grow, and then I'll be happy that they're kind of in pots for life.
Yeah,
Then we'll just cut them back on the vine.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put bags of that into that. So why haven't my strawberries yielded anything this year? They didn't yield anything. I kept them from last year and everything. A bit disappointing, that. So anyway, I'm just going to cut that open into there and then get those out and put them in. Just put in 120 litres, and then we put in, cleverly thought of by my mum, we found some old garden feed, fertilizer feed, so we put a little layer of that over the top, and then I'm going to put another 120 litres of soil in, and then we'll try and lift them and plant them in.
Yeah.
That's going to be the tricky bit, Mum.
Yeah.
That's the perilous bit.
Can I just say to the
Yes.
subs, we're not 100% sure that now is the right time to put feed in because of this thing of stimulating growth when it's about to be autumn. But we've been saying all the way through the summer that we've not fed them at all, and it can't be right not to feed anything. So
I'm sure
Mark's
plants
just
know
given them
their
a
own
bit.
internal
They
logic
don't.
as to whether to take
They
stuff
don't.
or not. Do they not?
No, they give up. No, they don't.
Put that one,
Which is the
honeysuckle, into there, and that one, which is that clematis,
Which is
into
doing
there.
very well.
And it looks quite nice, that grey against the white. It'll look nice.
It does.
Doesn't it?
I think that's a real find. That
Real fine, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We'll try and take that out.
Without pulling it. Yeah, exactly. Careful.
Easy.
Wow, that does not look.
Okay.
Yay!
There you go. So that's. I'm going to put more soil obviously around, so that kind of needs to go a bit deeper in. Do you think?
Yeah, that's what I meant really about it.
Yeah.
It's a bigger hole.
Yeah. They need to be restaked. And they need to have their canes put back in. But that is going to look nice. Look, it's quite contemporary, isn't it? Quite contemporary. One there, one there, one there, one there, all the way along. I think that could work, and that could work quite nicely. Well, I'm pleased with that, and then they can carry on growing up with much more root space. Winning.